is not good. LAFC is already so loaded.
Come on, share some with the rest of us. Like,
LAFC has Olivier Giroud has arrived. He's training with them. I was actually on Steve Cherundolo's Zoom call today, and he said that he's not going to debut in this game. They play tomorrow, I believe, Wednesday. He said he's not going to be ready for that, but he might be ready for the next game. They're just getting him fit, and they're going to unleash him. So that's going to make them way better. They've been running like Kai Kamara out there a lot, who's like really
still scoring. Dude, like he's still a beast.
Like it's kind of, I'm kind of happy for Kai Kamara that he like gets to play on that team, because he's played for like half the teams in the league at this point. And there's been times on some of them where he doesn't have a heck of a lot around him and he's still banging in goals. But like on this LAFC offense, like he gets a lot of high percentage chances, which Kai Kamara has been converting for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So I bet he's probably having as much fun as he's had in his career playing on that team, with how good they are in attack and the kind of chances he's getting. But like, I mean, there are levels to this. Like Olivier Giroud, even at 37, is a huge upgrade over 39-year-old Kai Kamara. And they have Denis Bouanga, the evil, demonic, goal-scoring force of nature spawned directly from the gates of hell. And now you're throwing Giroud in there. So, I mean, guys, I fully expect this guy to be banging in goal after goal after goal.
At Starfire.
He's that would be sick.
God, I need Giroud at Starfire. Like that would, I wouldn't even care how the match would turn out. Just like how fucking
the novelty,
funny
that would be a good novelty
yeah.
if he did that. But I mean, it's just like, you know, the rich get richer, and I mean, he's one of the best. He's the leading goal scorer in the history of the French national team. So now that they're integrating him naturally, they're also signing Griezmann, who's
they're in talks, rumors.
They're
talks.
Yeah, they're in talks. But like, I think it's a situation where he and Giroud are boys, and it's sort of like an Inter Miami thing where they're bringing in his buddy, who's also, I mean, he's another one of the better attacking players of recent times, folks.
Yep.
Like that's the type of level of player that we're talking about here. And he's only 33. I was looking it up. Giroud's 37 and he's still really damn good. But Griezmann's like earlier in his 30s, and the two of them together, you know, they played together a lot with France. Like this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad for everyone else in the West and the league, frankly. Like, because LAFC is already so loaded. You have Bogus having the season of his absolute life, and you have Bouanga, who's an evil demon spawned from the gates of hell. So you add these two French guys to it. This is not good. This is not good.
I'm so upset, Ari. I'm in the mud. I'm in the mud mostly because of the next thing that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because how, man? Come on, share some with the rest of us. Like, we're, not to be whiny about it, but I'm gonna be.
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
this
Okay,
is like
so that's a good segue, and then I'll let you cook on your grievances. So the Sounders had a transfer rumor to Albert Elise, who's a Honduran attacker. And he might be a familiar name to some MLS diehards. He played for the Houston Dynamo a few years ago. And I remember him actually because he was on Club Olympia of Honduras when Seattle played them in Champions League in like 2015 or something. And do you remember this?
Yeah.
Like Seattle was heavily favored in that series, and he just went nutty.
He went sicko mode.
He went sicko mode at Lumen Field, which was then CenturyLink. And I was just like, that was the first time I heard of him was watching him live at Lumen, and he was dominating the game. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, some MLS team has got to swoop in here. And eventually it was Houston, and he had a couple of really good years for Houston, very productive player. But then he got transferred to Portugal, I believe, and then I never really heard much from him again after he left MLS. But he is a provenly productive, good MLS player. But now the Sounders are linked to him, but apparently he was in a coma, which I didn't really know about. I don't know what happened. But according to the reporting that I've seen, I think Jeremiah had some stuff on this. That's sort of been a hang up with the potential transfer. And like, it seems like there would be legitimate interest there, I guess. if he was fully healthy and like cleared to play, which he's not right now. And honestly, like if the health thing wasn't a factor and it was just we were judging him as a player and based on his track record in his career, I would be kind of down with that signing. Like he's been a good MLS player, and his skill set is something I think that Seattle could use with what he brings as a wide attacker. But it is just like I mean, I'm sure you're going to hit on this to an extent, but like even if Elise was healthy, like the contrast between what LAFC is doing and signing Griezmann and Giroud, I mean, it's a stark contrast.
And yeah, to be clear about the Elise transfer, they had initially investigated and had talks, but kind of decided against it from what it seems. So it seems very, 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 very unlikely that they would sign him. Mainly because he hasn't played soccer in 6 months and he had a head injury and was put into a coma. And I had a tweet poking fun at this, like, oh, LAFC signed one of the best French players of all time and are now in talks to sign another one of the best French players of all time. And we are in conversation to sign a dude who was in a coma and hasn't played soccer in 6 months.
It is a little on the nose with the other report. And just like, it's LAFC is making the biggest splashes right now, but there's been like a lot of moves flying around. Remember we were talking about how Columbus, every time we look up, they've added like with the DeJuan Jones trade, but also they signed another guy today. So I understand like Seattle's rationale for not making moves is that they're up against the cap and there's not a lot of flexibility and stuff. But like, I'm sure someone who knows the stats and the math of the money behind it could explain it, but it's like how are all these other teams not quote unquote up against the cap? Like
it's because they're making outbound transfers as well. Like there's players on this roster that are sucking up so much cap space that like if they're not going to play, you have to move them. They need to move on. You need to find a way to make moves, and like there's just zero ambition, it seems, for any of that.
Maybe they're just not getting offers, but I don't know. At a certain point, like, if you could move a Leo Chu and then bring in someone new, that would inject some fresh energy.
They got an offer for Obed, not saying that it would be the best thing to do to move him, but like you have an offer for Obed, who that's a good bag. Maybe you move Leo Chu, and like not saying that that's exactly who I would want to move, but there are like actual real offers out there. Not saying they're exactly what you want, but you can negotiate. You can make moves. If you really cared about this season, if you really cared about like the Club World Cup, if you really were actually focusing on that, you would be making moves right now. You would be making really hard decisions. They're not doing that.
Yeah, it's a fair grievance, and I definitely understand the frustration. I mean, we'll be keeping tabs on all the other transfers and goings on, and I'll let Noah complain about it